Day 191 of the Ukrainian war map, also known as Russia's devastating invasion of Ukraine. Juzzy here, and today is another quick update as I like to take a simplified and down-to-earth approach to the happenings on the ground in Ukraine. And as always, I like to start off with the Russian combat and military hardware losses. Now, do take these with a grain of salt. These are just best estimates. The trolls in the comments love to tell you different every time. So, but take this figure here, the 48,700 Russian military personnel troop losses. This actually includes mercenaries, contractors for the Russian army, Donbass fighters, things like that. Though of particular accuracy, I find, is the Russian military hardware losses. So we'll start off with these ones here today. And we have the armored combat vehicles. So a whopping 21 additions in the last 24-hour reporting period. A massive 12 additional tank losses for the Russian army. And 11 additional artillery losses. So these are all huge figures, and you'll see again in a moment in the video why this will be. Now, let's move across to the map there, and we'll start off with the north this time, so within Ukrainian territory, so Kharkiv, where the Kharkiv mayor advised that there was shelling in Kharkiv's western city district at around 6 a.m. local time there today. According to preliminary information, 4 cars were damaged, but there were no casualties reported. Now, 6 a.m. shelling from Russia is starting to feel like a common theme in the north of Ukraine. I see it time and time again. So Russian soldiers wake up at 5 a.m., I suppose, then perform mostly indiscriminate shelling at 6 a.m. A very similar situation happened in the Sumy Oblast as well this morning. 2 cars were hit and a residential building there as well. Now we'll move across to the Donbass, so zoom out for context and show you right around here. So the Institute for the Study of War, aka the ISW, reported that Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered his troops to occupy the entire Donetsk Oblast by the 15th of September. So that's this white area here that hasn't yet been taken by the Russian forces, which is considered to be quite an unrealistic goal. Putin, time and time again, is referred to as not a great military leader, which seems to be apparent, as it appears he is shooting military orders down the horn to a number of fearful and non-argumentative yes-men military officers that will carry out his orders irrespective of the order's legitimacy or even attainability. First up on the Donbass map, though, is the southeast of the front line. So let's zoom right in there, where explosions of ammunition at the Olhinka village, right there it is, in the Donetsk Oblast have been reported. This Russian-held location is no stranger to Ukrainian fire, as it's usually used as some type of supporting logistics and supply line behind the Russian offensive front line right there. And hey, you know what? We can pull up the fire map for this one, because we'll probably see more specifically where those explosions were, and load it up. So I'll just firstly say the fire map, which is designed to detect wildfires, but turns out it is also great for Russian depot explosions as well. And there it is. So there's Olhinka, and we have some potentially non-wildfires right here. So that makes sense because it's not exactly in the village or town quarters identified by all the streets there. It's a little bit outside, which is pretty typical of a situation like this. But now we'll move up to the central Donbass area, where we have not a great deal that's changed in the last 24-hour reporting period. So we have Russian advances that were repelled in 4 directions in the contested Donetsk Oblast front line, including Bakhmut right there, also Avdiivka down a little bit south, and Slavyansk up the north area of the contested area and Donbass region here. Then we move across to the Dnipro-Petrovsk Oblast. So let's zoom out again for a bit of context, and here it is. So this boomerang-shaped oblast right there. So starting off, Russian artillery shelled Nikopol and Kryvyi Rih cities of the region overnight. So we've got Nikopol here. Obviously, you've probably heard of this town, opposite from Enerhodar, where the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant is, and Kryvyi Rih over here as well. That's the second largest city, I think, in Zaporizhzhia, from memory there. Now, I'm not sure what patch of soil would deserve this sort of shelling from Russia, but all jokes aside, my point here would be that something like only 9% of Russian fire actually hits military installations or Ukrainian military installations. Reason being, Russia has only one thing, and maybe only one thing in abundance, which is very old Soviet-era imprecise mortars and shells. And then we take a look at Zaporizhzhia itself, which is very, very close by. So, in fact, at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, just mentioned there. So, got a video of tanks on the street in Enerhodar, which timing is not great. Not a good look for Russia during a visit from the International Atomic Energy Association, aka the IAEA, which I'll mention further about in this video soon. And the Russian MOD, so the Ministry of Defense, claims that 60 Ukrainian commandos landed near Enerhodar, attempting to restore control over the nuclear power plant. Then there was a follow-up Russian media claim that they were instead trying to attack the facility. Not sure if both of these narratives are really in alignment with one another, but there's not been any follow-up evidence of this. Me, personally, I'd love to hear about a Ukrainian commando or commandos swooping in, trying to retake control of the plant, Hollywood style, but only time will really tell if this is false or not. Now we move to the Kherson region where lots has been happening, so we'll scroll down a bit there. Russian shelling has been particularly intensive on the Kherson front line in the last day or so. Now, firstly, let me give you a little bit of context here. We are dealing with a 100-mile or 160-kilometer long front line, so quite a big one there. And for the ongoing Ukrainian counteroffensive, there's a series of small villages on the north counteroffensive here, which are important for Ukraine to take and to continue taking, really, as it's the point of logistical access all the way down to Nova Kakhovka via the Oblast's arterials. And there it is, Nova Kakhovka right there. And let's see, so Nova Kakhovka, along with Kherson City, which is just on the other side of the Dnipro River there, are certainly both key locations that Ukraine very much wants to take as a starting point with this counteroffensive. And to add to that, we are dealing with a potentially estimated 20,000 Russian troops in this north bank of the Dnipro River, which is, the current state puts the Russian side at a pretty precarious position, I would say, because they are threatened with being encircled by the Ukrainian army there, and then starved out of weapons and logistics supplies, causing them to A, maybe perish, or B, get captured, or C, pull back and flee to the south of the river. However, as time goes on, the C option, pulling back, gets very questionable because all bridges are effectively in an unusable, damaged state and unsafe for heavy trekking. So we've got the bridge right here, the dam bridge, not in a good state for anything heavy. Same can be said with the rail bridge and the Antonivsky bridge right there as well. So, in a nutshell, Ukraine is focused on making it hard for the Russian military to replenish ammunition on time and increase the number of troops in this region. Ukraine has already destroyed 6 ammunition depots as part of its counteroffensive efforts in the last couple of days. The Ukrainian side is more than willing to concede, though, that this counteroffensive could take weeks or even months. But the fact that something like this is even happening shows that the war tables are turning, and that is that there's an actual strong counteroffensive from the Ukrainian side now. And just on the topic of the Nova Kakhovka bridge right here, the Ukrainian Operational Command South said that there was a recent strike on the bridge that left several additional holes. Oh, and it also has to be mentioned that the Ukrainian forces also prevented the Russian troops from building a new pontoon bridge over the river in or near Darivka. So that's right here. So basically, we've got the Inuits River, which separates the east side and the west side of the north bank of Kherson, effectively stopping the Russian troops from one side, assisting the troops on the other side effectively. Also, we have some new Bayraktar TB2 footage. We haven't seen any footage in a while due to the Bayraktar being vulnerable on the front lines, so they were just trying to keep them safe, you could say. However, this new footage taken was made possible due to the use of US-supplied AGM-88 HARM anti-radar missiles used to take out Russian air defense radars effectively there. And the fact that we have this new footage effectively tells us the HARM missiles are in use, creating a greatly reduced situational awareness for the Russian military, particularly in the front line areas like this. In turn, allowing the Bayraktars back on the field, so to speak, on the front line of the Kherson counter-offensive. And just so you know, this footage shows a strike on a Russian TB-11 mortar and a Ural 43206. And on to some news. So, despite obstructions from Russian forces and Moscow, the UN-led International Atomic Energy Agency, aka the IAEA, mission finally reached the Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in the last 24 hours. And the chief of the IAEA said the IAEA is here to stay. Now, the chief also went on to say that they would maintain a continued presence at the Zaporizhzhia NPP in Russian-occupied Enerhodar. And 5 inspectors from the agency remained at the station after the agency's visit on September 1st. And in more news, Ukraine requested Turkey to take action against 4 Russian cargo ships allegedly delivering an S-300 anti-air missile system through to one of Russia's ports nearby through the Turkish-controlled Stray. So they were going to, right down here. I can't pronounce this one, my apologies, Russian, but this port right here. Also note the fact that Russia needs to divert old air defense systems from Syria to Ukraine speaks volumes to equipment supply issues that Russia is having, in my humble opinion, but also in many international defense ministries' opinions as well. And in more news, the Finnish Defense Ministry announced an aid package worth $8.2 million to Ukraine, but did not disclose the content, delivery, or time or location. Now let's just take a quick look at Finland. So all the way up here. So this is yet another show of support from a Russian bordering nation, albeit really, really quite high up. Pretty snowy in those regions, I'm sure, but yet another ballsy move, I'd like to say, from a Russian bordering country there, for sure. And in some more news, Denmark is to provide winter gear for the Ukraine military. So right here, Denmark. Now, winter gear, this is good. I consider this to be extremely newsworthy because you might remember at the start of the Russian invasion, it was still wintertime and there was a bunch of videos of Russian soldiers in suboptimal winter gear that they'd been provided by the state, just freezing their behinds off. And again today, I'll round off with a bit of a funny. In fact, two funnies today. And the first one is kind of weird. Russian President Vladimir Putin was in Russia's Kaliningrad exclave in the last 24 hours. So this is a little part of the country that's actually outside Russian, the main Federation borders there. And as part of his visit, Putin met with Kaliningrad school students to mark the start of the school year, answering questions, probably predetermined questions from thoroughly vetted students, on topics ranging from the economy, space exploration, and Moscow's military intervention in Ukraine. And he oddly said that children in the Russian-occupied Donbass don't know that the bridge to Crimea exists. And he also said, quote unquote, they didn't even know that Ukraine and Russia were part of a united country. Which, of course, they wouldn't know because it's not. But that's not even the most funny part here. So, how do I put this? I don't really get involved with the Putin health conspiracies, as entertaining as I do find it. But it is unusual how he is grappling a chair for dear life with his left arm and hand. He's also on a funny angle, and it's just weird how his feet are jerking around with a mind of their own. Now, there will undoubtedly be a resurgence of online videos and conspiracy things questioning his health again, purely for this single video shot. So, watch out for them. Not from me, though. And the second and final funny for today. Someone hacked the Yandex taxi service and ordered all available taxis to a location or a district in Moscow. Now, there is a huge traffic jam with taxis. Apparently, this lasted for about 2 hours or so. Then they figured it out and the police had to, say, move along. There is no one to pick up here. There was also a similar style hack, though, that happened earlier in June. So, a couple of months now at least, where people could not call Yandex to get taxis. So, not the first time it's been hacked. But that's pretty much it, guys. So thanks for watching. Please leave a comment, subscribe, hit that like button. Try to avoid those trolls as much as you can. And I do hope to see all of you guys there in the next one. Yeah, thanks again.